Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Podcast. I'm Dave Claxton, and along with me, as always, is our mountain running micro machine, Bethany McChesney. And today we have, let's see here, Spartan Pro-ish, because, who knows, two-time Guinness World Record holder, Dream Team member, and co-founder of Much Mom, Arielle Fitzgerald.
Moms.
Mooch Mom. Oh, my God. See, how many times did I say that right before? It was like a lot.
Okay.
Anyway, Arielle, thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
I guess we'll start out almost back to front. How are you? Are you back home? How are you feeling?
I'm back home. I'm feeling fine, other than like the fact that I have interacted with more people and taken more planes in the last 6 days than I did in the last year. I'm feeling okay. So.
All right. So actually, before we even get to the race, how was it getting back? Because I've been hoping to make trips to the States coming soon, and I was looking into it, and the rules just changed as well. So how was it getting back? I saw Ryan and Lindsay, they both couldn't run the super because they had to go get their COVID test done.
Right.
Because it's got to be within 72 hours. Did you have one test that covered you the whole time you were there because you weren't there as long, or?
Well, I actually was there, I stayed in Boulder with Nicole for a few days. So I flew in on Tuesday, and then I flew out on Sunday. So you had to take, going into the States, they require a rapid antigen test. So you have to pay for a test in Canada to go to the States. And then when you get there, I had to take a second test. But since I was there for a bit longer, I could take a free test and got my results in time. Otherwise, you'd have to pay to take another test to come back into Canada. And then when you arrive in Canada, they give you a take-home kit. So then you go home with this take-home kit. But it was funny because I got a take-home kit in Vancouver, but I didn't land in Calgary till a couple hours later. So then when I got to do my test, no one could come pick it up. So the next night, it comes and gets picked up. So it's been 42 hours, almost 72 hours since I've been home, and I don't even know if they have my day one test results yet. It's just and I called and I'm like, so am I supposed to isolate? I'm double vaccinated, and they're like, no. I'm like, so why do I take a test? You'll notify me in a week if I have COVID, but I've already been interacting with everybody. It's just, I don't get it. But if you don't have your test, they will not let you on the plane. The number of people that missed flights and were turned around or paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get tests done at the airport was just quite a few. So
what a great racket to get an emergency airport testing. I would be charging way more than hundreds of dollars. I would be totally all over. Yeah. It's literally a trapped market. They can't go anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and it's you're either paying money for another night in a hotel or you pay for your test. So
yeah, you're kind of it's just one of those additional travel expenses that I don't see them getting rid of the testing in anytime soon. Why would they? They have these tests that they need to use. They have eager people who want to travel. They have cheap airline flights right now. So the $300 you're saving on a trip, you're spending now on test. So.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
Life is a Canadian. All right. So
yeah.
Actually, now I'm interested. Now I want to ask about this. So you went down early to hang with Nicole, and as we said, you are part of the Dream Team. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How did that go? What was the process there, or processes? I've been told I'm supposed to say.
Well, it was I knew that kind of going to this. Originally, I was going to stay in Colorado for a little bit longer, but just with work and family and everything else, it just didn't make sense. So that's why I came back early. But yeah, it was really fun hanging out with Nicole in Boulder, and then she's pretty still beat up with her knee injury. But her roommate is actually Canadian, and we used to compete in all the same track meets together as kids in high school. So that was really fun, knowing all the same childhood superstars who are at the Olympics now. And that was pretty fun. But she was really good. She took me got to get some obstacle practice before the race, and then ripped my hand open and had all the fun stuff there. But yeah, it was really awesome, and just to kind of meet her in a non-race environment. She's pretty much as fun as she is on screen as she is off screen. It's no unfiltered Nicole all the time. So yeah.
I mean, that would be
So
great.
how then, with the OCR Dream Team, then how has this helped you and getting to your races and being prepared for them?
I think it just, for me, it's like I probably wouldn't have gone the extra mile to go. So like when you have like people, like they say, you know, when you have a support team and like, you know, people who can help you out, then your ability to go places, like I'm sure you saw with like a lot of the Olympians, especially in track, those Olympians who had the opportunity to stay in the States and race and compete all season were able to make the team because they had that opportunity. Right. And that's a bit how I feel right now, is like I have an opportunity to sort of be on the dream team and travel a bit more. So like having a place to stay in Boulder could break up the long travel day because there's not a lot of flights going to the States. And then having connections through her to get to Utah and get from Utah to the venue, because it's not an easy venue to get to. Was the reason I went, because had none of that, I would have been like, I'm a lover of convenience and nothing about this trip was convenient. So that was good. Yeah. And then like the dream team gave me opportunities to like different sponsorship opportunities, but also like coaching and mentoring. So like for me being fairly new in the sport and still like my obstacle game still not great, any race experience is good experience no matter how bad the race is. So I just need to remember that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you find then when you got that message about getting on the dream team that it was like a confidence boost and like, you know, this is where I'm supposed to be, and kind of helped you just feel a little bit more like confident with your abilities?
Yeah, that's actually a good point, because so I graduated kind of like the pandemic happened. I didn't have a really like great 2019 OCR season. I was kind of dealing with injuries, plantar fasciitis, and like kind of off during the pandemic. And then I wasn't going to apply even for the team because I was really on the fence as to whether I wanted to just kind of go back into ultra running, or if I even want to do OCR anymore. But I decided to apply kind of last minute, and it gave me a confidence boost and was like, oh, maybe I'm not done in this sport. Because like starting graduating and starting career is like, oh, maybe I should just focus on my career and like train recreationally and enjoy that and just kind of put athletics on the back burner. But the team was like, oh, I don't think I'm done yet. And it kind of reinforced like why I kind of held on for so long. So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I can see that happening for sure. Like, just like, you know, I got to give this a good go. Because even just feeling like people believe in me. Right? Yeah. I think a lot of times it's just like you're always questioning and like your confidence in yourself. And you're like, I think I could. But then when you're at transition points in life, just have this, like, obviously a massive support network. It's just like, we believe in you, Arielle. Like, I want you to go do this. It's just like that extra push.
Yes, exactly. And I think like 29, it's such a weird time because like Tahoe and World Championships, we all know how that sort of went. So like coming off of that season into pandemic, like I think a lot of athletes were probably feeling like a bit stuck, right? Like you didn't have like the hype, and then you didn't really have a race for so long. And so you kind of like reach this plateau of, you know, what should I be doing? You know, I didn't perform well, but it's really hard when like it was. So yeah, I think that the dream team really helped with that.
Yeah. So moving then from the dream team, which is super exciting. It's such a great group of girls actually that you're on that team with.
And it's interesting. Sorry, I was gonna say, I lost the chain of thought, is like, so they not only did you have the pandemic, but you also now you have a lot of like people who've been in the sport, like who are starting to leave the sport. So you have this sort of like new top end of people who can like there's a lot more like Spartan's changing, and you know, like the pro team and all the contracts, and like Spartan is not going to be the same this year or even next year that it was 5 years ago, but you're also starting to see a transition of athletes. And I think that there's a lot of new athletes and new talent going to come come up the pipeline in the next couple of years, which is also super exciting.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things that happened because of the pandemic too was that athletes started to see their vulnerabilities as an athlete. It's like you rely on races and sponsors, and now all these companies that are sponsoring you have also taken a massive hit. So now it's like, can you continue being a pro athlete? And we did see a lot of athletes who had to start focusing on career and
Yeah.
a different a way to make money that outside of the sport. So it really did shift things around in the sport too, which is a really interesting point too. Yeah, so coming back now into the season, we are seeing a lot of different faces because of that. So
yeah. Yeah. So but yeah, I think it's fun and exciting. And it's cool to see events coming back. And you can definitely like Utah, you can tell the people who had the opportunity, like back to opportunity, the girls who had the opportunity to race during the pandemic and had that, like you can notice a difference in like performance between the field.
yeah, so was your last race before Utah, was it Tahoe 2019?
It was New Jersey. I did the trifecta like the first week of November. I didn't do the trifecta weekend. Like I ran a few races there, but it was just like I had a really strong race with Faye, but we went off course. So like again, like really super strong performance. Like I would have won that race. Ran clean, like actually like strung together a really strong performance, but we missed a flag. So we both got disqualified. So it's just like one of those things where you like, it's in you, but it's just like wasn't official and all that. But yeah, that November 2019 would have been my last race and my last real hard effort. Like I didn't do much. I wasn't motivated by virtual events, or I had my really bad plantar fasciitis flare up and then focus on graduating. So like 2020 was a pretty no bueno year, I would say, from a fitness standpoint. But yeah.
I'm surprised. I could have seen you getting into some of those FKTs. I mean, like, funny because you say you're a creature of comfort, yet at the same time you seem to really embrace the suck. So you're almost your own oxymoron. So did you go after any FKTs at all, or did you try anything like that?
I was really like I couldn't run. Like my foot was so sore that I couldn't really run. I mean, I finished 3 university courses in a month. That's got to count for some form of FKT. But I was like, one of those, like, let's just get this stupid undergrad done. No FKTs. I don't even really remember what I did other than school. Like, I think I hit this, like, I kind of was peaking in my fitness, and then the pandemic hit, and it was just like, downhill from there. I did a lot of mountains, like just long, slow sort of hiking, backpacking, canoeing, things like that. But no, unfortunately, I can't say I won any FKTs. I was pretty boring in the 2020. So.
Maybe it was a blessing in disguise getting to get over your plantar fasciitis and get you ready for, Utah. So let's get to it.
All right.
You got yourself, you had a sleepover with Nicole and you went to Utah.
Yes.
Ready for the race. So you felt prepared going in, you were ready to go.
I was excited to go in. Definitely like been running well, been injury free for a while. And so been able to like build some fitness and build some strength. Ironically, I was like focusing on a lot of like short, fast running. So then when I decided to go to Utah, it's like, okay, now it's like long, hilly running. So Utah was definitely, I'm not stoked about my performance, to be honest. I don't think I ran the race I feel I could run. But I think that was a lot to do with like having not done a hard effort and then just like really not managing the heat well. Just like having not done a lot of hot running. Like in Alberta, like we don't have humidity. So like we had 1 week of like hot weather, but then even if you still run in the morning, it's not that hot because there's no, like, it's still quite cool. So from like a heat adaptation standpoint, I quite struggled there. But yeah, I mean, I'm not upset with my performance, but I'm definitely not like, I felt like I was maintaining an ultra effort, to be honest, like coming out of like seeing how like, you know, Annie did on like, she ran amazing, but just like seeing the state of their legs and like how hard they were able to push, I was like, kudos to you girls, because like I couldn't go there, which was interesting because Utah was steep and hilly and like a lot of like, yeah, I hiked probably 80% of that course. 80% of the uphill for sure. Was just hiking.
Well, I mean, just looking at the numbers here, I mean, it's not a performance to be embarrassed by or upset at all. I mean, you came 8th overall. I mean, the women that placed ahead of you are incredibly talented women. And from if I look at the splits, you progressively, you know, slowly worked your way up more and more and more. So what do you, I mean, if you're not happy with the performance, did you just feel there was more in you to give, or what do you think that your ceiling would have been? Where do you think you could have ended up?
I think it could have been top 5. I would have been happy with top 5. And I think had I was starting to be like pass people, so I was in 6th or 7th. Yeah, I think it was like up 6th, 7th, and I failed an obstacle. And then I caught back up. And then I failed another obstacle. And then at that point I was like, God damn it. I'm just gonna like run this in because it's hot and I'm tired. Well, I wasn't even tired. Like I was thinking about this afterwards. I was like, I probably could have got through another lap of that course. Like if I was in the ultra like beast, it wasn't like I was redlining. I was just like I was hot and like, yeah. I ran out of course. Like so I would have been happy with top 5. I'm not upset with 8th. I think like the biggest for me was like they changed Stairway to Sparta, and I just sort of tried twice and then was like, oh, I'll do 30 burpees. Where like had I tried like 3 times, even 4 times, I probably would have gotten it. It was just when I was like, I'll just do burpees. And so that.
How did they change it?
So it's really tall now. You're at North Americans, right? So like it's really tall and it's not like a hard, you just have to like jump and grab these 2 little holds, but like they're kind of awkward. But if you were, it's just like a weird sort of like grab these 2 little holds and it's like really slippery material. So you can't use
is it like the box?
It's kind of like the box material, but it's like, so the new Olympus too is like that material.
Yes.
So, and it's so funny because like Spartan's like changing. So they have penalty loops, right? Mm-hmm. So like Olympus, like I came off Olympus and like, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta walk. Like this is like hard. But like, had you failed that obstacle, the loop was so short to run. You would have like run the loop. Your heart rate would have been low. And then you could have just kept running. So it's like,
it's almost just like touch Olympus and then you ran the loop and you probably would have been ahead.
Yeah. Like you would have like come off that obstacle, not feeling so taxed because, but again, like you don't know the penalty loops. You don't know where they take you. So like when I failed beater was a penalty loop. So I was like, although you get behind, you're not like taxed, right? Like when you do 30 burpees, you're taxed, right? But if you're an efficient runner, like you're still not going to be taxed after a penalty loop. You'll be behind, but not taxed. So but yeah, it's interesting. I thought about you, Bethany, actually, for the like all the little tiny like short people who like if you're like upper body and grip strength, like you'll have no problem. But it is like it's definitely
but it's getting there.
You have to like jump. Jump really high.
I love that you thought of me mid-race. Look at how Bethany will so struggle on this line.
This is my time to shine. Just teasing. No. You won't struggle. You won't struggle with it. But it's like one of those weird ones. Like,
well, it definitely benefits people with a more height advantage.
Yeah. And like grip or height for sure, because like then you can just grab one and then reach and grab the other.
Right.
But like some people use like a double hand method. Some people you just got to play with it. So those are the new ones. But it's weird because like the obstacles that people are struggling on are old obstacles, but Spartan just added a curveball to them.
Yeah.
And the other thing with Stairway to Sparta is like we won't see the new one in Canada. So you're only going to see that one in the States because they don't have one in the Canadian circuit. I asked because again, I need to practice that obstacle and they're not going to be in Canada. So I guess I should have tried a few times more.
I spoke to Lauren Weeks before the race, and that was the only obstacle she was worried about too, because she had failed it. I believe in her last race. Yeah. She's like, I couldn't get it, and
so, she's not much taller than me either.
No, I think she's like 5'3" or something like that.
Yeah, at the most. Yeah.
She ran an incredible race. Kudos to her. Really strong performance. It was good to see.
So what's your feeling on the loops then, the penalty loops? Because normally I would be like, great, they're getting ready burpees because it's such a subjective movement and has caused so much issue. But I had really hoped that the loops would be taxing, like you say, and would be longer. Because I don't want to see people start doing that. I already saw that in Jacksonville with the guys, okay, slap the tire, go over to your burpees. I don't want it to turn into that. I want the obstacles to matter. But you say, and it's okay. So how many obstacles did you struggle with on the day, or did you fail on the day?
I failed 3. I did 2 penalty loops and 1 set of burpees.
Okay, so the penalty loops, how were they? You said the one for Olympus was way easy.
One for Olympus is easy, and the one for the spear throw was 50 meters. It was, but I get the impression so when you're making a penalty loop for Spartan, you have to think about, okay, well, where can I run this? So sometimes courses are already limited with space to begin with. But then also they're trying to make it an appropriate sort of range. So if you're a strong runner, it's not going to take you very long. But if you're not a strong runner, it's going to take you that minute 30, 2 minutes to sort of do that loop. So I think it is really dependent. But my opinion on the penalty loops is for example, if there was a penalty loop in back to Tahoe, Tahoe ape hanger. So ape hanger was a penalty loop, but it was a low crawl in the snow. Yeah. But you could almost use them. You could have used that as a strategy. I'm going to fail this obstacle, but I'm not going to get my hair wet. So I'm going to fail it, but take my shirt off and take extra time because I know I'm going to be rolling in the snow, and then I can put a dry shirt on and my hair won't be wet and I'll make it to the bottom of the hill. So I think the penalty loops will favor strong runners, which is not necessarily what you want when you start seeing beast and obstacle course race, because another one of the new faces on the scene, Mariella, can't remember her name, but she's a Mizuno sponsored trail athlete, was running with Lindsay at the beginning of the race, really strong trail runner. Penalty loops are in
You're
her
not talking
favor.
about Renee.
Renee.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Renee Medvier.
Yes. So strong runner, right? Penalty loops would favor her because if she has to run through a few penalty loops as opposed to doing burpees, and she'll be able to keep herself in that race, especially a long race.
Right.
So yeah, I'd rather run a penalty loop. But I think burpees are a bit more definitely challenging for sure.
I'm all for it. I like the crawls. I like the crawls as a penalty loop. I like maybe a heavy carry of some kind, something along that line, because
and it was
I don't want to see it turn into a strategy.
The carries weren't even long.
Yeah.
So, but again, there was a ton of climbing. It was really hot. And
I think that had they put in, say, double sandbag carries longer up the hill, people probably would have died.
I think so too. That's what I was like. I don't think it would have been a fair move to Spartan to jack people up with the heavy carries back up the mountain again. I just think between altitude and heat, it would have just been a bit too much to handle for most people. So.
Well, again, did you struggle with, as so many people with calf cramps and cramping due to whether it was the heat and the, being so dry? Did you struggle with that, or was that something you managed to avoid?
I managed to avoid because honestly, I was not ready. I wasn't, it just, my effort wasn't there. I think something I've struggled with for many years is like, I'm so comfortable in ultra effort. So as soon as like, I'm a really strong power hiker, I can power hike for days, but I'm like, when it can't run uphill very well. So it's something I've been working on. So I think like I didn't struggle with that because I have hiked and climbed, like the elevation was nothing for me. Had I been able to like, had it been 5 or 10 degrees cooler and I was able to sort of get into that pain cave, I think I would have been able to. But no, I was fortunate enough, no cramping, no sore legs afterwards, like none of that, to my own fault. But yeah, I think but then I was also thinking about this is I didn't bring enough water on me. So I was severely dehydrated and I was stopping at I was trying to survive. I was like, I am not DNFing and I am not getting disqualified on this course or anything today. Like if anything, I just want an official result. So I was like stopping at the aid stations. I was like done, like going underneath the tap of water and like soaking my head and like walking and like taking 4 glasses and drinking lots of water. Cause I think subconsciously I downregulated effort just because I didn't have water.
So you didn't carry a vest then with you?
I only carried 500 mils of electrolytes. So I had a little bit, but like for a 2.5, 3 hour race, like that was not enough water. So that's like one of my own sort of, like, I think I definitely would have ran with a hydration pack. I think I would have run with at least a liter, because I was thirsty. You know what I mean? Like you're thirsty and you never sort of quench that thirst. And then, I was like, oh, maybe I'll take some gel, but you had to like time your gels with the water stations. And I think, a lot of people were cramping for sure. So no, that was not an issue I had. I was dehydrated though, for sure. After that race, I was like, the P test did not pass the P test. It's like, whoo, I'm more dehydrated than I thought. So, yeah.
You said you struggled, you failed 3 obstacles, and obstacles have been an issue for you in the past.
Yes.
Now, I stalked your Instagram a little bit, and you're doing like ice climbing, you're doing rock climbing. I'm assuming grip strength's pretty good.
Oh yeah, it's there. I got like.
I'm going to be brutally not. What the hell's going on? What's the problem?
I don't know. Like as soon as I like failed beater, so beater, I slipped because what happened was there's like a creek going up, and I think a lot of people were like dunking themselves in this creek. So beater kind of got wet and sandy. Mm-hmm. And like I was like, oh, swinging, and then there was like a huge swing, and I'm in my head. Like I was like, I slipped on my hand, and as soon as I did it, it's like, it's not a matter of like not having enough grip strength, not having enough shear strength. Like it's nothing to do with that. It's having enough confidence almost, or like being able, like practicing. Like I need to go and like just do laps of an obstacle course and just practice. Cause yeah, I don't know what's going on. That one, my hand slipped. It got quite wet. I have completed all these obstacles before. I just haven't completed them all in a race back to back. That counts. It will come. My day will come. I'm convinced.
Yeah, I mean, you 3 obstacle failure, you clear those up, and yeah, you're bumping a lot closer to your 5th place spot there.
Yes, yeah. So.
But, I mean, and you're in Calgary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what is it, Core City or Core Fit? Yeah. I mean, I know I've done a lot of ninja competitions and stuff, and I know that they're a good gym. They're a good spot to practice anyway.
No excuses. I have no excuses there. I wish I could tell you what's going on.
And this is just for the 2 of you. This is kind of a side thing. Have you ever seen any woman miss the tire flip? Has that ever happened?
Never. No.
It's not heavy.
They got to fix that. Like, you fix it or get it.
It takes nothing out of you. And I'm not a big person, but yeah, it's not heavy.
Yeah. No. Because what is it, like 200 pounds, something like that in that neck of the woods? And the men's is like 450.
I think like a 250, 300 pound tire would be like challenging for females.
Yeah. The one I have at my gym is harder than that one for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, like it's pretty easy at the race.
Yeah, and I don't want it knocking people out and like Jacksonville did with the guys, but I'd like to see a struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just a side thing.
It's definitely not comparable when you're looking at how the men struggle with their attire relative to the females. Like it's not the same at all.
No, like
the other thing, like if we're talking about heavy stuff, like one thing that really makes me frustrated is like throw in a double sandbag carry before like Tahoe. Like if we're gonna see world championship double sandbag way heavier than any other sandbag we've done, like give it to us in North America. It's like, just like give it to us a bit earlier, because like the sandbags are light and like they're short, and then like you get to Tahoe and like that was like the most brutally hard sandbag I think anybody has ever had in a really long time. So like start making the female weights a bit harder to slow things down. If we don't want the best runners to always be winning, then I think they need to make things a bit heavier.
Palmerton, did you do Palmerton though? That sandbag carry was insane.
Was it?
Yeah.
I've never done it.
Yeah, and they've done double sandbags in Palmerton too.
Okay. No, I mean, I like really still struggle with my double sandbag carry. So I would like, it's strength for me if they don't have it. But I do think it's like, it's good to have. It's more like the awkwardness. Like I've hiked like many, many hours with a heavy bag before.
Yeah.
But
it's what do you do with the second bag?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do I put this?
Yeah. Just hold it like a baby.
Bucket and sandbag at the same time.
Oh, don't give them that idea.
The buckets are like heavier than the sandbags, especially if you like carry them up there. So yes.
Or we'll edit that part out so Spartan will never hear it.
Yeah, never get
don't let them hear that.
Anyway, I think you had a great effort. I think, although I know you feel you did better, 8th is great.
I'm not upset with 8th. It's just like, it reminds me that I'm not an uphill runner. Like I probably shouldn't be telling people that, but like I live in the mountains, but I don't run. Like I'm a hiker. And that's what I was saying to my boyfriend the other day. I was like, I need to start bringing running shoes when we go hiking, so I can at least like practice like running up like the easy sections of things, because it's a different muscle group. It's a different effort. But really steep running, like very impressive running from those top females who could run up that hill. Like it was amazing to see.
So next on the hit list, what's coming up next? Are you committed to the rest of the U.S. National Series? Are you going to be able to make it to Asheville? Because that's very soon.
So I was going to do the U.S. National Series. I really want to go back to West Virginia. I love that course, and like definitely one of my best performances happened at West Virginia. Because it's runnable and it's like technical and it's bushwhacky, and that's sort of what I like. But just with vacation plans, I think I'm going to focus on the Canadian Series, and then go back to Tahoe, because it's a matter of like, do you train or do you like travel and race all year? And I just think part of me is like, I really need race experience, but part of me is also like traveling and training is not going to put me in a really good spot come Tahoe. So right now I'm just doing the Canadian Series. Might consider West Virginia. I'm going sea kayaking for like a week in August. So like not only and then we're going to spend like a week on an island that you can't like, it's like a very small island, so there's like nowhere to go. So I'm like, I'm not going to be able to run for like 2 weeks and then go
just
into
practice your
Asheville
burpees.
What?
For a week long. Just the burpees. Just practice your burpees for a week.
That's true. I could just do like burpees and like paddle like I won't fail obstacles after that. I'll have like crazy mad upper body strength.
Swinging from the trees and paddling away. You'll never have to do another burpee again.
Well, it's like a really steep, like the island is like quite steep, I've heard. So it's just like you have to like carry things up and down this hill. I was like, I could get behind that. Do some water running in the ocean or something like that. But
so you're gonna go to Tahoe instead of OCR Worlds then?
Yeah. I mean, you see my failure record. I don't think OCR is my scene at the moment. We got some work to do before that. Like, I mean, yeah, I don't. no OCR Worlds anytime soon. I think that's gonna be like, are you gonna do that one?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Where it's in Vermont, right?
Yeah.
That's way more your scene. Like I think fast.
Yeah.
Like, it's a fast course, lots of obstacles.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to see what happens with the field.
Yeah.
I think Lindsay's going to Tahoe. Nicole's out. Rebecca's out. So like, OCR Worlds, you might see some other of the European girls. But will be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah.
Are you, and then Canadian Series?
Yeah.
I'm stoked for the Canadian Series. I think the Canadian girls are like fit and like it's gonna be competitive. Like I really do think the Canadian Series is gonna be just as competitive as American Series, like from a standpoint for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Too bad there's only 2 races though, but
yeah, I know. That's sort of it. So
yeah.
Are you gonna do West Virginia?
Is that end of August?
Yeah.
So far it's not on my schedule, but we'll see.
Yeah.
You can talk her into it. She's highly
maybe
suited.
we'll talk each other into it. What?
I'm super easy to persuade. You're like, Bethany, you should do this. Okay.
Let's make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like with Asheville, like I think a lot of girls are going to Asheville and then they probably won't go to West Virginia because they'll do Big Bear instead. Because a lot of the girls are like more West Coast anyways. So like, Colorado, Tahoe, like those races are easier to get to. So they had to choose one East Coast race. So I'm curious to see who's going to end up going. But yeah.
The whole split up for Worlds there is going to make, like you say, a very interesting field at Tahoe. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad in a way. I mean, obviously, because you're not going to have the best of the best, at either place.
No.
Yeah.
At Tahoe, especially, I think what you're going to end up though with is some interesting, possibly some breakout performances and some girls that you don't usually see getting the spotlight, getting their chance to shine. And in a way, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like even a bigger question, who's going to Abu Dhabi?
Yeah.
Just convince Bethany, she'll go.
Yeah. I was like, I don't handle the heat very well, but it is a more runnable course. So maybe I should consider it. So I like Googled flights this morning. I was like, oof, that's expensive.
Yeah.
Well,
I do have friends there, so we would have somewhere to stay.
All right. We could get convinced.
We just need friends who are in the airline industry.
Well, my father works for the airline industry.
Oh boy.
My whole family is actually in the airline industry. So
all coming together now.
What?
I said it's all coming together now.
It is all coming together.
Do you think it'll be over? Like, do you think they're gonna? First off, do you think Abu Dhabi will be a success? Do you think the attendance will be decent enough that Spartan will want to go back or will want to continue maybe branching out with their world championships away from the continental states?
Well, it's interesting because like I studied in sport and rec management and did a few courses on like tourism and events and all of that. So like I see like Abu Dhabi is most likely, I'm assuming, paying Spartan to host their events there.
A lot
of money, right? And like if you look at like CrossFit World Championships that were sort of in Abu Dhabi and like the prize money that was there, I think as long as Abu Dhabi either like pays some of the athletes to come and then maybe offers like incentives for people to go, it can be a success. But if it's one of those like no support for, I know there's a bit of pushback from athletes too, is like, you're not going to support us to get there. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. Well, we're not going to go. Because a lot of people don't want to travel to Abu Dhabi. Right? I mean, I think it's a beautiful, like, I think once you're there, it would be like an amazing experience. But at that point, you're, the timing, it's kind of right before Christmas. It's a long season. So I'm a bit torn as to like, I'm probably like Bethany. I'm like, oh, let's go. Like today I'm on I want to go to Abu Dhabi today. But then like other days I'm like, oh no, I'm done. Like I am so done after Tahoe. Like get me out of the airport, like long travel days. And it's a long season.
Yeah. So one of the interesting things, actually, what Abu Dhabi did with it was the Dubai CrossFit sanctioned event, is they made it in a way that every athlete that came would come out ahead financially. So because there was prize money for every event that happened, and like a significant amount of prize money for every event. So basically every athlete would come out like not going in the hole for coming. So it was incentive in a way where you're like, although they weren't necessarily paying for their flights, everyone would end up with a certain amount of money.
Right. And I think that would be like a good incentive. Or even if like there's an athlete house. So there's like, find your flight here, but your accommodations is paid for. There'll be a shuttle from the airport. There'll be a place for, you to stay, and there'll be food, right?
And like prize money really deep.
Yeah.
Let's say like top 30 or 40, like get it really deep. Like it's not like they don't have the money.
Yeah.
So just kind of spread it out.
Yeah, I agree. Because it is like nice that it's like not in Tahoe again, and like different climate. And as Spartan tries to become more of an international event, like I see the appeal for having it somewhere else. Like,
and it is big. It's big in the UAE.
And it's a huge, like Abu Dhabi is like a massive like sports, like their sport facilities, just everything there is like incredible.
Yeah.
So I think that, but in saying that, I think it's a one and done deal. I think if you go once, it's not like Tahoe where you're going to go every single year. It's going to be one of those like go once and experience it and then sort of move on. Like you don't go to Tokyo to the Olympics every year. You go once a year, every 4 years, somewhere like big like that. So just to keep it, but I'm assuming
it's also not a trip. It's also not a trip where, I mean, it's also like it's a 8-hour, 9-hour time difference. So it's not really a trip you fly in for the weekend and come out very easily either.
No, it's quite a big trip.
Well, at least from here. Europeans, it's a little bit of a different story.
Yeah, I don't know, because that's 8 and 9 hours. That's a hard time change. Sometimes if it's like like I remember like when I raced in like the Netherlands or like other Spain, like it's easier because it's like 12 hours, right? Or like that where your days and nights just become flipped. A bit easier to get over. But yeah, I don't know what to expect for Abu Dhabi. Like some people I talk to, they're like, no, like I'm not going, refuse to go, like unless Spartan pays for you, like don't go, no. And then I have other people like, yeah, I've already booked my flight, like I'm so excited for this. And lots of people are going. But I don't know. I don't know what to believe.
Abu Dhabi would be an amazing experience. Like, I mean, it would be one of those ones that regardless of how your performance at the race is going to be, just to experience it and to experience sport in that area in a completely different culture, it would be wild. It would, like, that to me kind of symbolizes a whole world championship, right? Everybody's getting together and you're experiencing different areas. And I didn't like that it was always at Tahoe. I thought, it's no different than their North American championship. It's just at a different venue. The fact that they move it around, I hope it works. I hope it jumps around. I hope they get the interest. I don't know that they will, but hopefully, because I'd like to see it move up to Europe, see it come to Canada, see it go wherever, South America, Africa. I mean, I'd even think of like a place like Poland has this amazing OCR culture, and it would be unreal. Now, mind you, they're more obstacle proficient, but still, they're into it. I would like to see a lot of different places,
it would be really cool to see. But do you think that it should be every year though? Like, because like world champ, so like when I ran World 100K, it's like every other year, and then like World 50K every other year, and then they alternate like 24 hours, and like they alternate it every other year. So then like it kind of like makes sense, it justifying going to the Netherlands or justifying going to Spain. It's like, okay, you pay your flight there, and once you're there, everything's paid for. So I could see like with Spartan, if they made it every other year, then it kind of like every year seems like a lot. Like, 1 year you're going to Abu Dhabi, the next year you're going to Germany, and then gives you I don't know, what do you think? Like if they alternated either like 1 year was 24-hour world championships, and the next year was like the beast. And then you kind of like alternate it to keep that sort of world championship like.
Well, quite often organizations do 2 years in one place, right?
Right.
Like that's the way it's always worked also in Canadian track. And sometimes it's too just like you set up the systems and the people and everything's in place. So you might as well make use of it for 2 years.
Right.
Before you move it. Like it's kind of like just a repeat. Like we've learned all this once. It's easier the second year. So we do it again twice.
Right. So you think it'll be in Abu Dhabi for 2 years?
If it goes off well, I think it's just quite typical that you would repeat second year. Yeah.
And it's kind of like I feel like they're stuck between a nail and a board this year because of the pandemic. Because you get one trip this year. Is your trip going to be to Abu Dhabi? After like going to the States was hard enough, let alone going like to Abu Dhabi with all of this. Like that's sort of the.
Is Sparta still happening?
Because that's the other one. I think a lot of people have been considering going to Greece.
Yeah.
Over Abu Dhabi, or those who are fortunate enough will maybe do Greece, hang out in that area, and then go to Abu Dhabi. But it hasn't been announced because I was sort of like, oh, maybe I'll do Greece instead of Abu Dhabi.
But it hasn't been canceled.
No, it's just like not happen. Not official. Like don't book anything, but
yeah,
it's sort of I think people are still like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what to believe, but it seems like in Alberta, like no mask, like nothing. Like I'm pretty sure if I flew direct to Alberta after flying from the States, I probably wouldn't have got an at-home COVID test. Like it just because I flew through Vancouver. So
you know what, piggybacking on your idea about sometimes, I guess, kind of inferring maybe every other year or taking a break every now and again from the travel. What about, and then this is just fresh in my head here, what if sometimes they just made the trifecta championship the world championship?
Right. Yeah.
And instead of one race having the winner of the total trifecta championship be the world champion. And then, so your off years, you could have it in Greece because, that's Joe's thing. Everything's Spartan, everything's Greek. The Greeks invented everything. They did all of it, we know. So, but that's what they want as their home base. I think that actually wouldn't be bad. That'd be interesting to see. And it would be different than always just having the one distance. It could, we saw how the last time in Greece, how like Atkins fell off the map and you see different people elevated. Yeah. So it would just be, I think it would be an interesting mix.
I agree. And then it's like, it's not always in the mountains. Like, I think that was part of the reason for going to somewhere like Abu Dhabi is like, if you're not a mountain runner, like I live in the mountains and I would not consider myself a mountain runner. You're not going to do well at Tahoe. Right. But vice versa, like someone like Lindsay doesn't love flat running and doesn't really love sandy, hot running. So now it's the world championships are in like Abu Dhabi, which is really going to challenge her strengths. So I think it's good that they made that move, but yeah, like I couldn't imagine a Spartan World Championship sprint. Like that's just a whole other bag of work.
You just DJ licking his chops going, yes.
I know.
Yeah, I'll be doing a 24-hour championships that year. No.
The one thing I see, so for the U.S. National Series this year, you need to do, is it 3 races you need to get? And the rest you can throw away. But are they specifying that the races have to be different distances? Because to me, I think it should be reasonable if you want, if Spartan wants it done this way, which I think they kind of do, and they want a champion who is a variety, who has that wide range and could go all distances. Yeah. Why have they not implemented that, you have to do 1 sprint, 1 super, 1 beast?
Right.
I would think
then it's a trifecta, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think
you're not,
you want to do the trifecta world championships, you have to do 1 of each, and that's where they differentiate it. But yeah, it's true. Like, beast, you could do 3 beast. Actually, you'd probably get away with 2 beasts and a super.
Yeah.
I don't think
you're playing to people's strengths, right? Where if you spread it over the 3, you're making it wide open then, because it is a point series rather than 1 race.
Yeah.
And that was the thing actually I was hoping the Canada series would have 1 of each. And I think that was the plan.
They were supposed to.
Yeah. I was hoping maybe they'd make Red Deer or Blue a double and throw in like a sprint with one of them.
Because it's a super and a beast.
Yeah.
Right.
However, when I suggested that, nobody liked that. But those are all the people running it. I just want to watch.
You want more drama.
Yeah. I just want better finish lines. All right. So we did mention it, and I mean, I guess yeah. So other than that, your plans are to hit Virginia, to hit Tahoe, and we deal with a lot of hybrid racing and stuff like that. I don't know if you dabbled in any of that yet. Is there any inkling to try any of those, a Deca or High Rocks or?
I wouldn't do High Rocks. Like I would probably, I've sort of considered Deca. Like I think Deca would be more, the weight in High Rocks would destroy me. I mean, kudos to you, Bethany, but you're like killer strong. I think Deca would be more of my something I might dabble with in the winter months. But I'm gonna do a sky race this year, Broken Arrow. So get some more running in.
That's in New York.
Pardon?
That's in New York?
No, that one's in Tahoe as well.
Oh, so okay.
It's like the weekend after, it's weekend after North Americans is Broken Arrow. I think like for me, I'm sort of torn between like going back to ultra stuff and staying in like in shorter stuff, because like I do excel at ultras more than I do at shorter stuff. But I have no desire to do 24-hour world championships. So like if Spartan had like a regular beast where it was like an ultra beast or it's 2 laps of a beast course, I'd be like probably have already considered switching over. But since it's 24 hours, I just not my jam. It's long. So
now what if they bring out, as they were planning to do, what if they bring out the ultra series? Now
if they do, I could consider that.
Yeah.
But it's tough. I like the 2.5, 3 hours. Like I like beast course distance. Anything longer than a beast. Anything shorter, I'm in trouble.
Toughest Mudder, have you ever considered those?
24 hours.
No, 12 hours.
I did consider going to one of the Tough Mudder 12-hour races for sure. But then there's more obstacles.
Yes. Yeah. There is more obstacles. There is also, goofy penalties. I don't know.
I think you're right. I just need to go hang out at Corporate a bit more. I'll be fine. Like it's
absolutely.
The obstacles really aren't that hard. It's like it's not that hard. It's just
You need to come to Ontario. We'll meet at Bethany's gym and we will do a complete week of
hybrid race training.
Yes, I know.
Training with hand tearing ability.
And then
my family's in Ontario, so coming to Ontario is not that hard. That's where I'm from. So, awesome. Yes.
Well, I'm good, Bethany.
Yeah, me too. Thanks so much, Arielle, for joining us. Huge congrats on Utah. Great rest buster for you. Getting out there with the top girls here and showing your top 10 performance. All the best with the rest of your season here coming up, the Canadian National Series. We will see you there. And keep crushing it this year. Thank you both. I look forward to seeing you around, hopefully. I think that's the most exciting part of the Canadian Series is just seeing people. So awesome. Thank you both.